Oh, hi, hey, hello, and welcome to Bad Bleeps of the Bible. So from the top, I'm going to drop some FYIs for you. First, our bleep today was what the Bible calls a harlot. Actually, the Bible says an harlot, which makes zero sense. But she was a harlot, period. And I am in no way shaming men or women who also identified themselves as such. Do you, boo? I'm just going to roll with the KJV's original language. We're also not going to make a big deal out of this, people, because it's 2023. Move on. Second, if you enjoy this podcast, please continue to rate, review, and subscribe. Share it. Join the Insta. Share the Insta. Let's make the Bible less of the Bible and more of, the Bible. Cool? Cool. And that's it. Let's get into this bleep who defied her people, saved her family from destruction, was a Canaanite, Israel's oldest enemy, who became an Israelite, ran a thriving business, and began one of the most powerful family lines in Bible history. Welcome our bad bleep, Rahab. We are back in the Old Testament, people. After 40 years of wandering, the Israelites are close, so close to making it to their final home, the Promised Land, the land of milk and honey. There was just one, tiny little city standing in their way. And that city was Jericho. And when I say little, I mean giant. This actual city with archaeological evidence points to Jericho's settlement and later city built around 8 to 10,000 BC. So she was old and she was big, with walls around 13 feet high, 6 feet wide, and a watchtower around 28 feet high. So she was old, she was big, and she was fortified. Jericho was also known as the principal seat for idol worship, and the city was actually devoted to the worship of the goddess of the moon, Ashtaroth, which I think is just a little fabulous. Actually, where's my moonstone crystal really fast? Perfect. This is a strong digression. Back to the story. So obviously, Jericho was a formidable force that is blocking the Israelites' path to the Promised Land. The Israelite leader at the time was Joshua, whose dad's name was Nun, N-U-N. So Joshua is described as the son of Nun. How fun. Anyway, Joshua had sent 2 spies out of the city of Shittim ahead of the Israelite nation/army to scout the land and specifically check out the Canaanite stronghold of Jericho. These 2 spies did just that, ineffectively, I might add, which we'll get to, and pranced themselves straight into Jericho and into, as the Bible describes, an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. Side note here, some, of course, revisionist history has attempted to say that the word the Bible meant here was more to indicate an innkeeper. Do what you want with that info and feel free to explore in your own time. Additionally, some evidence points to the fact that the spies pranced into the city and straight into the Rahab's establishment for some other entertainment value. Again, do what you want with that information. Just know the spies were in Rahab's house. Back to our story at hand. So clearly, Joshua's spies were horrendous. Since the moment that they entered the city, the Bible said that it was told the king of Jericho that there came men hither of the children of Israel to search out the country. So not only does the king know that the men are here, he also knows who they are and knows why they're there, which kind of defeats the purpose of spies, I think, but I digress. So he, of course, sends his men to collect the spies from the house of Rahab. However, when the king's men showed up to collect said spies, Rahab says to them, yeah, sure, these men were just here, but I had no idea who they were. In fact, these men are gone now, but only just gone. If you leave now, you should be able to catch up with them. Go fast. And the king's men scurry away to catch the spies, completely unaware that Rahab had actually hidden said spies on the roof underneath some drying flax and straw. Rahab understood the assignment clearly. But this incredible bleep had a plan all along, one that she revealed to the spies once the king's men were good and gone. You see, Rahab knew exactly who these men were before they had even spoken a word. She had clocked them. She knew that they were Israelite spies. But not only that, she had heard what had transpired throughout their 40 years of wandering from Egypt. She knew how God had dried up the Red Sea for the Israelites to cross. She knew of the defeat of the Amorites and the absolute utter destruction of everyone that they encountered. She also knew then that Jericho, no matter how strong and how fortified, would be next. So she had hatched a plan to protect her and her family. She states, "Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that you will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death." The men agreed and are smuggled out of the city by way of her window, which was located directly on the town wall, connected to those giant walls. Before they leave, they hand her a crimson thread, stating that she's supposed to hang this thread outside of her window, and then everyone within her house, as long as they're in the house and stay in the house during Jericho's destruction, will be saved. The spies then yeet themselves out of Jericho and make their way back to Joshua and let him know that the city was ready to be sacked. A short time later, the Israelites prance themselves into Canaan and lay siege to the city, which we will actually get to in the next episode. So they lay siege to the city of Jericho, ultimately destroying the city as well as every man, woman, and child within it, except for Rahab and her family, who followed the spies' directions and were spared. In a fun little twist to this story, Rahab and her family actually join the Israelites and become one of the few Canaanite members welcomed by Israelites. She also eventually marries a man named Salmon? I truly have zero idea for the pronunciation of this. It's capital Salmon, which in my mind reads as salmon, but who knows? I actually could not find a pronunciation. So we're going to roll with Salmon. Maybe he was pink. So she eventually marries this man named Salmon, who some believe could be one of the two spies that she saved that day in Jericho, which I think is so cute and so romantic. So we're going to keep that sort of history. But lastly, and most importantly, Salmon becomes the father of Boaz, which obviously means that Rahab is then the mother of Boaz. And so just bear with me for these names really fast because I promise it serves a purpose. So Rahab is saved. Rahab becomes the mother to Boaz. Boaz becomes the father to Obed. Obed becomes the father to Jesse. And Jesse is the father to King David. And because King David's lineage directly leads to Jesus, we know that this unlikely couple of a harlot and a spy are the direct relations and the great, lots of greats, grandparents of the most important man of all time. He who shall always be named Jesus. What an absolutely incredible bleep is Miss Rahab, who, through cunning and through understanding, saved not only herself, but her entire family as well with the hanging of one scarlet cord outside of her window. I really hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to tune in the next few days to catch our kind of part 2 to this episode regarding the city of Jericho and how that city was destroyed. Please feel free to get in touch with me and share your thoughts at badbleepsofthebible@gmail.com and Instagram at badbleepsofthebible. Sources for today's story can be found in our show notes, and please rate, review, and subscribe. Catch you next time, and be on the lookout for bumbling spies and crimson cords. Bye!